You wanted the picks? You got the picks. The hottest picks in the world.
Dana White's Contender Series Week 10, we've got Ashiek Ajim taking on Mateus Mendonça, which is strange to me because he was referred to as Mateus Bocau in pretty much every fight that I saw. But a lot of the Brazilian fighters, for whatever reason, they have a different name on Tapology than the announcers refer to them as. So I'm not really sure. I might use the two interchangeably. If I refer to him as Bocau, that's because that's what I'm used to the announcers calling him, the commentators calling him that as well. So I don't know how that works, but if somebody knows Portuguese or lives in Brazil and has any idea why the names don't quite show up the same on Tapology as they do on the name plate or whatever it is in the fights, as well as what the commentators are calling the fighters, let me know, because I don't know Portuguese and I also have never been to Brazil. So let me know. That confuses me. But let's go into the fight because that's what you guys came here for. So Mateus Mendonça is 9-0, taking on Ashiek Ajim at 6-1. Both of these guys do seem to have some skills, but the level of competition at which they faced is quite a bit different, and that does throw up some red flags for me. So this is one of the fights that I do feel pretty confident in my pick, so stay tuned for that. Ashiek Ajim is 6-1. He's looked pretty good over a lower level of competition. He's beaten a lot of guys that have rough records, guys that didn't look great, but he's looked really good against them, and that's something that you like to see when guys are facing low-level competition. He does have really good work in the clinch, his slick transitions on the ground. He uses his ground and pound to set up those transitions, so that's pretty good. His striking on the feet is it's all right. It's regional level MMA. It's not too bad. I wouldn't say it's crisp by any means, but it's not bad. The problem that I have for Ajim is he lost to the only mid-level guy that he faced. And I say mid-level because that's about where I place Chris Mutino. That's who he lost to, obviously. Mutino, I do believe, went 0-2 in the UFC. Both losses, KO, TKO. Didn't look great. Yeah, so if you're getting beat by Mutino, you're probably not quite UFC caliber. I know that was a little while ago, but he hasn't beaten anybody since. They've all been those salty records that you see on the regional scene sometimes when it's hard to find fights. I understand it. It's not his fault he's getting matched up with those guys, probably, anyway. So there's that. Maybe he's improved a lot since then. He did get a second-round TKO loss to Mutino, so not what you like to see. On the other side, for Bocau or Mendonça, he's fought a much better level competitions. A lot of the guys he's beat have had some pretty good records. One of them, I believe, had like 20 wins, 5 losses at the time of the fight. That's a pretty solid regional fighter, I would say. And, if you're beating that kind of guy, you've beaten somebody that has wins, that has experience. So that's a good sign. So he's fought in the much better level, competition in probably the higher level of Brazilian regional MMA. I would say he's competed there. So that's good. On the other hand, he did get exposed in his fight against, I guess it said Pedro CJ on the name card, but when I look at his Tapology, I don't see that anywhere. And I narrowed it down to one of the guys that it could have been based, or the only guy it could have been based on the event. I forget what name that said on Tapology. I don't remember. But anyway, it was Pedro CJ in the video. He dropped him quite a few times. Made him almost kind of take a knee or wobble him or whatever. Obviously, he won the fight because he's 9-0, so it wasn't too big of a detriment, but at the same time, he does get hit. I do think Ajim can take advantage of that if he keeps the fight on the feet, throws those strikes, maybe gets to the clinch, uses his work there because he's pretty good there. But I do think on the ground it won't even be close. Although I know Ajim does have pretty good ground skills. Bocau has the much better grappling. He does also control the pace of the fight. If he wants to slow it down, he will slow it down. If he wants to pick it up, he will pick it up. The thing is, even though he has the better grappling, he seems to be more of a striker. And something that I've noticed, though, is he's really good at initiating strikes, but he also is a good counter striker. So whether he's pushing the pace or content to let you come forward and try to throw, he can get out of the way and counter. He does really well at both, and that's surprising because a lot of people don't. But, and I think the reason he has so much success with that is because he's able to mix his takedowns in with his strikes. So something that he'll do is after he's landing a few, when he gets you starting to backpedal, instead of just continuing to strike, which would probably work fine for him, he'll mix in a takedown. And that works pretty well because he's able to use that jiu-jitsu, that he has pretty good jiu-jitsu. He's able to soften you up on the ground. And then when the fight does get back to the feet, if it does, he is able to go back to the strikes, and now you are hesitant because that takedown was there fairly easily coming off of his strikes. So it changes your defense in preparation for a guy like Bocao. So for me, I think that the better level of competition is going to pay out well for him. I think he's beaten guys that I don't think that Ajim would have beaten. So for me, the pick is pretty clear. Bocao or Mendonça, as it says there, or however you pronounce it. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I never heard anybody say it, so I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. But like I said, I'll take Mateus here. That's a pretty... I think he's a pretty clear favorite. I don't see any reason that you wouldn't pick him. It is MMA. Things happen. It is... I mean, in a fist fight, things happen, okay? But this is one of my more clear picks on the card. I do believe that there are 3 really clear picks I have on this card, and then 2 that I'm not as confident in. But this is one that I'm pretty safe to say that I do have the winner there. And I don't think I've got this one wrong. But if you think I do, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. If you think that Ajim has the better striking or grappling or whatever, let me know. Maybe I missed something. I'd love to have that back and forth with you guys. I do like to get the opinions of the fans. If you've watched some of the regional tape, and like I said, if you understand why the Brazilian fighters often have different names in the video than they do on their Tapology, that would be really cool to understand, because I've not got a clue. But like I said, good fight, should be fun. I've got Bocao or Mendonça. We will see you guys in the next video. There are a couple more that I'd really like to highlight here. We've got some big ones coming up on the card. If you haven't already watched those videos, they should be in the same playlist as this one, the Week 10 Dana White's Contender Series. So I will see you in those videos, and don't forget to hit that like button for me, all right?